Once upon a time, there was a group of young friends named Lily, Max, Rana and Sophie. One day, they decided to go on an adventure in the nearby forest. As they walked deeper into the woods, they noticed that the trees started to look different, and the leaves glimmered in the sunlight. Suddenly, they heard a whispering sound that came from behind a big tree. They slowly walked closer, and as they peeked behind the tree, they saw a small door. Without hesitation, they opened the door and stepped inside. As they entered, they saw that the small door led to a beautiful, magical forest. The trees were taller and greener than any they had ever seen before. The leaves sparkled like diamonds, and the flowers gave off a sweet fragrance that filled the air. The three friends looked at each other with wide eyes and big smiles, excited to explore this new world. As they walked through the forest, they met many new creatures. There were talking animals, like a wise old owl and a chatty squirrel, and there were tiny fairies that fluttered around them, leaving a trail of fairy dust. As they continued their adventure, they came across a giant, crystal-clear lake. In the middle of the lake was a small island, and on that island was a castle made entirely of glittering gems. They quickly realized that this must be the home of the forest's magical creatures. So, they approached the castle and knocked on the door. A beautiful fairy queen appeared and welcomed them inside. The fairy queen explained that the magical forest was a special place, and not just anyone could enter. Only those with pure hearts and good intentions were allowed to enter and explore. She also explained that the forest was a sanctuary for all creatures big and small, and they all lived in harmony together. Lily, Max, Rana and Sophie were amazed by the fairy queen's story and felt honored to have been allowed to enter the forest. They spent the whole day exploring and meeting new creatures, and they even got to ride on the backs of friendly unicorns. As the sun began to set, the fairy queen led them back to the small door that they had entered through. She bid them farewell and reminded them that they could return to the magical forest any time they wanted, as long as they continued to hold pure hearts and good intentions. The four friends stepped back through the door, and as they closed it behind them, they looked at each other and smiled. They knew that they had just experienced something truly special, and they would never forget their magical forest adventure. The end. Thank you so much for listening to me.